Right, Honorable Speaker, this makes my heart even worse than before. I thought the minister was coming to give us a solution to the problem, because I'm seeing women being exposed to the fierceness of the night. Anything can happen. Yeah, so I think really, Speaker, I feel very disappointed the kind of answer the minister has given. So can we devise a better way of resolving the issue rather than saying you have sensitized them and there's nothing you can do? That means there's nothing you are going to do about it.
Is there anyone who has a proposal for how to deal with that issue? I think if let's try and find a solution. Is there anyone who has a proposal for that issue?
Right, Honorable Speaker, I didn't say we're doing nothing. I think that's what the honorable member wanted me to say. I said we are looking for a place where we can receive these people in a wider and a better premises where the security can be guaranteed. The question is when, not whether we're not doing or not. And sooner or later, we'll come and we'll inform the country. Secondly, I'm saying we are asking the labor companies to cooperate with us so that they deliver people at the right time. We cannot go on the street and look for everybody and say, if you're going for passport, we want to secure you. We can't. So we're doing something. We're very sorry that many people are making our people to suffer, but the process is now so easy that there was no need for people to actually suffer, except that they are being brought even when they are not scheduled for the action. But I promise that within a week, we shall be able to tell Ugandans what we have done. Thank you.
Please go to your
Madam Speaker, what brings all these problems is the method of work we use in this country. Somebody who stays in Gulu has to come to Kampala to get a passport. Somebody in Arua has to come to Kampala to get a passport. Somebody from Mbale has to come to Kampala to get a passport. Right, Honorable Speaker, other countries have decentralized these services. It is easy, it can be easier to have a regional office processing passports in Arua, having a regional office processing passports in Mbale or Soroti, so that not everyone has to come to one place here in Kampala. Madam Speaker, I think if the minister is looking for a long-lasting solution, you should look at decentralizing services so that people can get these services where they are. Thank you very much.
Honourable members, I hope that as we are processing the budgets, you include this in your recommendations. Yes, Honourable Jova.
Thank you. Right, Honorable Speaker. Initially, when we used to submit applications for passports through the post office, these lines were not seen. And if the minister is saying that the people are now many and they come for their details to be taken, at least publish. If you know that you have detailed days on which, even if it is 10 people on a Monday, publish it in the newspapers, let people know, so that I know on Monday I'm going to pick my passport. On Friday, I'm going to pick my passport. But not have everybody who has applied for passport turn up on the same day, and then you say, no, they were not scheduled. How do people know they are scheduled? So it is up to the ministry to make sure that they come up with the procedure and the schedules and let Ugandans know. And as the honorable member has said, the issuing of the passports can be decentralized. Someone came, they gave you their details. Now picking the passport can be through a local center. Thank you.
Minister.
Right, Honorable Speaker, we even do better than publishing newspapers. When you apply now online, whether in Kampala or in our regional centers, which I'll soon mention, there is a place where your telephone number is indicated. Or if you don't have, where your nearest neighbor or a relative's telephone number is indicated. When you are scheduled for an interview in Kampala, if it is necessary, that message is sent on that telephone. When you are invited to come and pick your phone, your ID, that message is sent on your phone. So what we're doing is much better than just newspapers, because not all newspapers reach our corners. Number two, we do have passport processing centers. We have Mbale, we have Arua, we have Gulu, we have Mbarara, and we have Kampala. These are working, and they don't take any longer or any shorter than Kampala, because it is all online. Where a person is required to come is only when we want to come, and as I said, to personalize. Personalizing means we come and take additional features from what you have provided if they are not provided. And most of the people who are there on plot, on old, or in our office, in headquarters, are not people from our country. Most of those are people who are dropped there by these labor exporting countries. When you used to send papers through the post office, how many people were traveling? I am telling you that we're issuing 1,500 papers a day. 1,500 passports a day. Leave alone the other work permits and so forth. So the real question is not whether we're trying our best, but I agree. There is this blogging and we need to address it. And our method, I would like members to accept, is give us time to address that issue by opening up a sender soon and be able to reduce that population. And we believe it will happen.
Thank you very much, Minister. Honorable Shave, your issue 2 minutes quickly.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I'm before this microphone to talk about a matter of public importance concerning the exorbitant power connection fees charged by UMEME these days. Right Honourable Speaker, 2 years ago, we were charged as Ugandans less than 300,000 to have a pole connection. But 2 years ago, Right Honourable Speaker, so many Ugandans applied to UMEME to be connected. All those that paid that little money that were being charged previously have not been connected up to now. And every time you try to reach out to UMEME, they will tell you that they do not have materials. Recently, Madam Speaker, I followed up on this matter and I discovered that they connect somebody who is ready to pay 760,000 shillings or 2.76 million for a pole connection. And they will tell you that they have materials for people who can pay that money. Right Honourable Speaker, this tells you that power is only going to be left for the rich, people who can pay that huge amount of money. Right Honourable Speaker, my prayer is the minister in charge of energy should come and explain to us what will happen for people who had earlier applied for connection, what will happen for the poor people who cannot afford that high amount of money, and the minister should come here also and justify the changes and the higher charges that Umeme is charging for connection these days? Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Okay, now members, the minister should come in a fortnight's time to give us an update on those issues. Item 3.
Item number 3, bills first reading, the Prevention and Prohibition of Human Sacrifice Bill.
Abatiku?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I am here to finally, Madam Speaker, to present this bill for first reading. That is the Prevention and Prohibition of Human Sacrifice Bill 2020. Madam Speaker, recalling that in 2017, I moved a motion seeking leave of Parliament to present a private member's bill to address a chronic problem of human sacrifice, and particularly targeting our children in this country. Madam Speaker, having done extensive consultations and working closely with the key stakeholders, both in the NGO world and also on the side of government, Madam Speaker, particularly the First Parliamentary Council Department in the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, the Law Reform Commission, the civil society organizations, and our own legal arm of Parliament. Madam Speaker, I now therefore wish to present this bill for first reading. I also sought for certificate of financial implications, Madam Speaker, from Ministry of Finance, which has been duly granted. And I would like to take this opportunity to also appreciate the Ministry of Finance for swiftly working with me to have this certificate processed. So, Madam Speaker, as I wind up, yeah, very rare, it's true. And Speaker, I want to thank the Minister and the team at the Ministry, because this is my second private member's bill, which has never faced any roadblock or problems. Madam Speaker, my prayer as I lay this bill on table with the certificate is that owing to the fact that we are left with very few days, and the fact that we carried out extensive consultations since 2017 to date, it will be prudent for the committee before which this bill will be going, the draft bill will be going, to fast track this bill because it's long overdue, so that we pass this bill before the expiry of the 10th Parliament. Madam Speaker, I beg to present. Thank you.
Honourable members, the bill is sent to Committee of Legal and Parliamentary Affairs. However, I want to just caution that in the event that it's not completed during the 10th Parliament, it will be saved and handled during the 11th Parliament. Thank you. Item 4.
The Prevention and Prohibition of Human Sacrifice Bill 2020. Item number 4, statement by the Right Honourable Prime Minister on the need to review the 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew.
Now, members, I received a letter this afternoon from the Prime Minister indicating that he's not able to attend, but that he has delegated the Honorable Biga Kania, Minister of State for Internal Affairs, to handle item 4.
Right Honorable Speaker, it's true, as you have said, the Prime Minister asked me to make the following remarks regarding the issue of the curfew. As we all know, the curfew and all other standard operating procedures regarding the COVID pandemic were issued after careful study and guidance by the National Task Force, which is under the direct supervision of His Excellency the President. And I think they've so far worked very well, and we thank God, and we thank the President for the guidance, and also the population for the cooperation which they've shown. Of course, in some circumstances, and in quite many circumstances, socially, economically, they've been biting. But when you compare the benefits with the life, it has been suffering worth taking. So the National Task Force is reviewing the entire SOPs, including the issue of the curfew. These, they will advise the President, and
No, allow the minister to finish.
And on the advice to the President, as usual, the President will announce the next steps which are to be taken regarding the SOPs, including the curfew. In the meantime, my Ministry of Internal Affairs had consultations with particularly our Muslim clerics and the leadership regarding the obvious time of Ramadan, where some people will be affected. And it was established and advised by these leaders that the times which are critical for our brothers, the Muslims, will be up to about 8 to 9. And these are the times on which we need to give consideration as far as the curfew is concerned. If I could finish this and then you can give, because I have not made the statement. So what we're saying, we are advising, we will be able to encourage most of our activities to be done before 9 o'clock, but where they are not, these will be relaxed as and when it is necessary for the communities to perform their religious rites. So efforts are being made to make sure that the curfew will not affect the operations of the Ramadan period. I thank you.
But now there's no order.
Right Honourable Speaker, thank you for bearing my approach on this matter. Right Honourable Speaker, I thank you very much for the work. And you have said it rightly, that the Prime Minister is not coming, but he delegated the Minister of Internal Affairs, who is actually within the right docket of this matter. And when normally, according to our order paper, this is a statement supposed to be given and it can be debated. And here we are having a minister who is submitting like members on a statement. We expect this matter, Honourable Speaker, is key. It is very important, not only on Muslims. And one of the major problems of curfew now derived from the Honourable Minister's department, where police has turned it into an employment opportunity during the night. Honourable Speaker, the procedure matter I'm raising, wouldn't it be procedure okay that we don't take what the minister is taking now? We wait for the Prime Minister to give a statement, we debate the issues of curfew properly so that we get a better solution to this problem. But here the minister is saying that it's doing very well. People are suffering. People are suffering. Yesterday, Madam Speaker, at around 9:30, they were arresting vehicles, taxis, along Ginger Road because they had reached the time of 9, but they were going home. Jam ends at 10. And here we are. The minister can't come to give a statement, and the one delegated can't give a statement. And I've been with him, Madam Speaker, in the Committee of the Internal Defense. He ran from there to come and just give a flat statement. That's not how we can move when the order paper is clear. We need a statement. There are issues related to curfew, which we want to look at, and there's no justification for curfew to continue running up to now. When the people in the village are enjoying themselves, discos are moving, and the police is giving protection to those who are well placed in the system. These are common issues. Go to Munyonyo, those with the big bars, and they have security, police is there guarding them, playing music, drinking up to morning. Then when you go to Muchomo, the locals, the Kalungu local things, they arrest them, and they have to pay DRA from police. And there's no report that is taken about this curfew. People are suffering. People are suffering, Madam Speaker. So that's the procedure matter I'm raising, that wouldn't be procedurally okay. The Prime Minister comes with a statement. They give us a status of curfew, how much they have achieved, how it has moved, and why should stay on, yet it is illegal under the laws of Uganda by now.
Now, Minister, I thought you were giving a preamble and then making the statement, but I don't know where the statement is.
Right Honourable Speaker, I thought I was clear. I said the Prime Minister asked me to come and make these remarks, not a statement. I will take it back, yes. And therefore that item remains on the order paper, and the Prime Minister will come and make a substantive written statement. My remarks were that the National Task Force is consulting over this matter. Number two, the police is also consulting with the clerics of the Muslim leadership so that mitigating steps can be taken so that the issue of Ramadan runs smoothly, plus other things. So when that statement comes, all that what my honorable colleague has raised and other issues can be substantially discussed. Now, regarding the issue of police extorting, whether they do it under curfew or under any other activity, it is illegal, it is wrong. And what we need is to get a report and take action on the matter. It's not because it is under curfew, therefore it is wrong. I mean, it is right. No. Right, Honourable Speaker, that is the essence of what I said here. Thank you.
Okay, now members, the statement will remain on the order paper for Tuesday next week.
Madam Speaker,
And the Prime Minister must come and answer.
Guidance, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Minister has talked about the Muslim clerics that he has consulted. And indeed, when I raised this issue yesterday, Madam Speaker, I informed the House that we are beginning Ramadan next week. And indeed, we always go in for late prayers. What the Minister has said is that the security will relax. And Madam Speaker, I don't buy that, because there is no way how the security or the police is going to relax by not arresting those who will be coming from the mosques, and not only mosques, but even other in other activities. Madam Speaker, I will request the Honourable Minister, because we know that the Prime Minister is going to come to make a statement here in as far as curfew is concerned, because there is a need to review curfew, because curfew is being applied selectively. We know some areas where people go on up to midnight without any kind of hindrance. Madam Speaker, my major concern is that the Minister to come out clearly that Muslims are allowed to go in for their prayers starting from next week, Wednesday, without being arrested by security operative or by police. Is this what the Minister is saying, that prayers have been allowed as long as you identify that I'm from prayers, the priest is not going to arrest you, Madam Speaker?
Honourable members, I'm aware that Cabinet meets on Monday. I think the government should take this matter seriously, so that on Tuesday, the Prime Minister should come here and tell the country what they are going to do. Because how would you say now the Muslims can move, the others should not move? So the Prime Minister should come on Tuesday and make this statement. Let's go to item 5.
Item number 5, laying of papers. 5.1, tax expenditure for the period July 2020 to March 2021, for the financial year 2020-2021.
Madam Speaker and honorable colleagues, I beg to lay the tax expenditure for the period July 2020 to March 2021 for the financial year 2020-2021.
Members, that report is for information, indicating what the minister has done, so it's available for your perusal. 5.2.
Item 5.2, combined 8th and 9th periodic reports of the government of the Republic of Uganda on the implementation of the UN Convention on the elimination of all forms of discrimination against women.
Minister of Gender here? They are not here. Raise them if they're here.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay the combined 8th and 9th periodic report of the government of the Republic of Uganda on the implementation of the United Nations Convention on the elimination of all forms of discrimination against women under the UN. I beg to lay.
Members to send to the Committee of Gender, Labor, Social Development for perusal and report back. This is the first time the report is being laid. We thank the Minister of Gender and the government for this.
Item 5.3, annual report, annual budget monitoring reports for the financial year 2019-2020 for listed entities.
Minister of Finance.
Madam Speaker and honorable colleagues, I beg to lay the annual budget monitoring reports for financial 2019-20 for the following entities: education and sports sector, the health sector, road subsector, energy and minerals development sector, science and technology and innovation sector, information and communication technology sector, public sector management, agriculture sector, industrialization subsector, and industrialization subsector. I beg to lay.
Members, each of those is sent to this relevant sessional committee for consideration and report back.
Item number 6, responses by ministers to urgent questions. Minister of Energy and Mineral Development.
Energy are here? Not here. Let's go to the next slide.
Minister of Works and Transport. Minister of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities.
I don't see any of them. Local government.
Minister of Local Government.
They're all not here.
Item number 7, motion for resolution of Parliament to authorize government to borrow up to 90 million from the Islamic Development Bank and $15 million from the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa to support the development of irrigation schemes in Unyama, Namaru, and Sipi regions projects.
Chair, Committee of National Economy.
I stand here to present the report of the Committee on National Economy on the proposal by government to borrow up to 90 million US dollars from the Islamic Development Bank and 15 million US dollars from the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa. And this is to support development of large irrigation schemes in Unyama, Namaru, and the Sipi regions, and 96 small-scale schemes. Right Honorable Speaker, before I proceed, I want to thank my colleagues who we've worked with on analyzing this report, on analyzing the request. And I would like to lay on table the following documents which we have considered in analyzing the request. I have a report of the committee, which is signed, a minutes of the meeting to consider the proposal, a brief to Parliament on the proposal by government to borrow up to the amount already stated, the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development letter on clearance of financial implications, the IDB project appraisal, the project appraisal document for small-scale irrigation schemes, the draft credit financing agreement between the Republic of Uganda and Islamic Development Bank, the draft credit financing agreement between BADEA and the Republic of Uganda, the draft framework agreement between the Republic of Uganda and IDB, the draft agency agreement between the Republic of Uganda and IDB for the Uganda irrigation schemes development in Unyama, Namaru, and Sipe regions, the revised draft financing terms and conditions of the Uganda irrigation schemes development in Unyama, Namaru, and Sipi, the Badea Edimoma appraisal, the proposed concept from the Micro Support Finance Center Limited for collaboration in implementation of these projects, the progress report of the Farm Income Enhancement and Forestry Conservation Program, the status of implementation of irrigation under the Ministry of Water and Environment, the National Planning Authority letter clearing the request, a letter from His Excellency, the President, the Minister of Finance, clearing the borrowing. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay. Right Honorable Speaker, the request was presented to this House on the 18th of December 2020 and was referred to our committee. The committee considered and scrutinized the request, and I now wish to report. On methodology, we had meetings with Minister of Finance and Minister of Water. We reviewed over 20 documents. We also had, we reviewed over 20 documents, Right Honorable Speaker, which are listed in paragraph 2.2. We also made field visits and inspection visits to the rehabilitated 5 new irrigation schemes in Nebi, Oyam, Butareja, Kweni, and Kasese to assess the level of utilization of these facilities by the beneficiaries. By all background, under paragraph 4, under paragraph 3, the development of irrigated agriculture has boosted agricultural yields and increased the number of cropping seasons to more than 2 in many parts of the world, thereby conserving important forest resources, contributing to price stability under the climate viability, and helping to feed the world's growing population, and also increasing productivity. We all know that irrigation can bring many benefits to the community, and irrigation can also make important contributions to the women empowerment as well as nutrition and health outcomes. Right Honorable Speaker, the
before additional loans are made. Then secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, the district that I represent, year in, year out, Right Honorable Speaker, we have a challenge of either drought or overflooding. Katakwi district that I represent is surrounded by water bodies. We have Lake Bisina, we have Lake Opeta. At one point, again, on this very floor of parliament, we are trying to make a recommendation. Is it possible that we tap into these water bodies that surrounds the district through having an irrigation scheme? I would wish that would be one of the main, not just Namalu, Sipi, and Unyama. I would have loved to see Katakwi being one of the points or the districts that a big irrigation scheme is established, tapping into these water bodies that I'm talking about, Lake Opeta, Lake Bisina, so that during the droughts, we should be able to utilize the waters through irrigation. We have these lakes, but we cannot be able to fetch water using cups to take to our gardens. We could even be able to feed the whole country. That is actually during drought, we are not able to do that. Then also during floods, we have not been helped through that we would think would be able to be a channel to drain this water that we get all the way from Karamoja, and then the heavy rains that we get in Teso sub-region, because the lands are flat. So I would like to find out from the committee what informs the selection of these irrigation schemes. I would have thought one of it would have been actually having water bodies around, and like I've rightly said, Katakwi is endowed with such natural resources, but we're not making. Honorable Speaker.
No, member, just for clarification, the Namalu catchment area includes Napak, Nakapiripirit, Katakwi, Ngora, Soroti, Moroto. That's what I see here. That's it. Yes, Honorable Pachuto.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the Committee of National Economy for this report. And I want to thank government for making efforts to ensure that we have irrigation schemes across the country so that throughout the year, a number of our people can remain in production using this water production. Right Honorable Speaker, however, I want us to note this, that many times these projects come and there are other components embedded in these projects, but the Ministry of Water seems to focus so much on the bit of the construction of the dams and what have you, and forget or are slow in implementing the other components of the project, that what counts with the project. A case in point, we have a construction of an irrigation dam going on in Pakwach. When I went and attended on this committee, if you look through the report, in the report it is indicating that trainings were done, hoses were distributed to local farmers. This is not true. When I cross-checked with the local communities back home, and even with the Ministry of Water, this is not true. I therefore agree with the member who said that before or during the time when the committee is processing another loan, they should have all the information, the right information, or even visit at least one of the ongoing project or completed project, so that our people are not duped. Then the other thing is, Right Honorable Speaker and members, a season like this, when you go to most parts of West Nile now, the rains have not come, although we are already having a lot of rain in some parts of Uganda, but they will come. And you find a lot of wasted running water across the country. I am requesting that the committee at a later stage or government should explore the possibility of harvesting running water. We get very soon, parts of Ogiso will be flooded, like most of our areas have been flooded.
Where is that water ending? We are just waiting for it to dry or, sweep up people and kill people. Why can't we think of a project where we can harvest water? Madam Speaker, I thank you. I don't know whether the chair would like to answer some issues, but I don't see the ministers here, the responsible for this sector. Honorable Karunji.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker and the chairperson for bringing this motion. And Madam Speaker, I want to also add on what Honorable the woman MP Kataku has said, that in Kanungu equally, we have areas which are always seriously affected by rain, by sunshine. We appreciate the government tried to put for us some irrigation scheme in one parish called Chibimbiri, but that scheme, I think, I don't know what happened, but they never finished it. But according to my research, it was going to be used within like 3 villages, Madam Speaker. I'm requesting that through you, Chair, through your chair, Right Honorable Speaker, that we also look at areas in Kanungu of Nyanga, Chihi, and Nyamerama, and extend irrigation there, because we have enough water bodies. We have River Ishasha, we have Mitano and others where we can harvest this water and make sure that those people have food throughout the year. Because when it's time for sunshine, those people never have food because of the dry soils which affect the production of food. So if this loan is to be passed, Madam Speaker, then we need to look at those areas also and consider them for the good of our people. I want to thank you.
Honourable members, I really thank the chair of the National Economy. They've done their work and they've been very sincere. But I think we would not be fair to this country if we pass the loan without getting answers to the questions that they have raised, especially the absorption capacity. So the decision on this is deferred to Tuesday next week. And please, Minister of Finance, make sure the Minister of Water is here and Agriculture. Thank you. Clerk, next.
Item number 8, motion for adoption of the report of the Committee of Public Accounts, Local Governments on the Auditor General's reports for financial year 2017-18.
I believe we had received that report and it was due for debate, but I don't see the chair here. Let's go to the next item.
Item
Yes,
number
Malani.
9.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I am the Vice Chair, Park Local Government, so I am available. We can continue the debate.
Okay. Honourable members, you listened to the report about a fortnight ago. It was a lengthy report. It raised many, many issues in the local governments, in the health centers, in the academic institutions. You are free to debate. Yes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I listened into this report that there were quite many. This report touches on pertinent issues, as you have mentioned, serious policy issues that are needed. Here, I only see the Minister of Finance. It would have been nice if we had somebody from local government and the Prime Minister in the House. I would wish that if given the attendance, we are few, I would have loved that this report be deferred to enable better debate, and probably when the front bench is best constituted, you come up with more stern ruling to send a message to government. Thank you.
Yes, so the members, certainly I was here, and what we were hearing was not very good news. It was issues of poor supervision, oversight, and so on. So, Honorable Vice Chair, I think let's agree that we push it next week and give notice to the executive that they must be here because the issues raised were very, very serious in that report.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Most obliged. We shall wait next week as you directed.
Okay. So clerk, please, you will notify the ministries, Prime Minister and the other ministries. Honorable Shave?
Right, Honorable Speaker. Yesterday, there is a member of the public that looked at the order paper and he said something that tickled me seriously. Said, how can our parliament be speaking about something happened in 2017, yet we have matters in 2020 and 2021? Madam Speaker, I think when I looked at that, I relooked at it myself and I said, probably we need to front load as much as we can the matters to do with the Auditor General's reports, because yes, we are going to debate the matters of 2017, but Madam Speaker, we need also to deal with those of 2020 and 2021. So, Madam Speaker, I'm just requesting from you that the committee, I don't know how they can do it. I don't know how we are going to do it, but we need to front load matters to do with the Auditor General's report so that we are current in whatever we are debating.
I am sure the committee chairs are going to take that into account, but nevertheless, the report was presented here, therefore must debate it, whether it is old or not, we must debate it to give us an insight into how to move in the future. So we'll bring it back on Tuesday, notify the executive. Let's go to item 9.
Item number 9, motion for reconsideration of the Public Procurement and Disposal of Assets Amendment Bill 2020 as returned by His Excellency the President in accordance with Article 91 and Rule 142 of the Rules of Procedure.
Is this for presentation or report from the committee? Finance, please, where are they to report on this issue? Because I understand they completed the hearing. They're not here. Put it back on the order paper. Let's go to item 10. Honorable Patricia, the Vice Chair of Finance. On the PPD amendment.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. As a committee, we have been able to process the report, and just a little bit was still lacking, and we are sure that we'll be ready by Tuesday.
Thank you. Item 10.
Item number 10, motion for adoption of the report of the Committee of Tourism, Trade and Industry on the failure by KCCA to adhere to Buy Uganda, Build Uganda policy in procurement of buses from India.
The Chair of Trade here, or the Vice Chair? They're not here. Okay, item 11.
Number 11, motion for adoption of the report of the Committee of Public Service and Local Government on the Public Service Commission Annual Report 2018-2019.
So our chair here is not. Got 12.
Item number 12, motion for adoption of the reports of COSASE on the audited public accounts of selected statutory corporations for the financial years 2013-14 and 15-16.
Chair COSASE, not here.
Item number 13, motion for adoption of the report of the Committee of Human Rights on allegations of sexual abuse and violation of human rights by Mr. Brian Kirumira against Stella Nandaula and other women.
Our chair here, Human Rights.
Item 14, motion for resolution of Parliament urging government to decentralize UBC radio table FM.
Honorable Ahmed.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I would like to co-opt other seconders of the motion because the others are not present.
Move, I'm sure you'll get some seconders. You move your motion.
I move a motion titled urging government to decentralize UBC Butembo FM. Whereas Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, UBC, is established by Uganda Broadcasting Corporation Act 2005 as a successor of the state-owned media known as Uganda Television and Radio Uganda. And whereas under Section 4 of the Uganda Broadcasting Corporation Act 2005, the objectives of the corporation are stipulated to include developing the broadcasting bodies into a public national broadcasting center of excellence for the purpose of providing electronic media and consultancy services that educate and guide the public. Noting that the functions of the corporation include, but are not limited to, A, providing radio and television broadcasting services and programs that contribute to socio-economic development with emphasis on national unity and cultural diversity. B, establishing and maintaining offices and installing any relevant broadcasting facilities and transmitting stations in any place in Uganda for purposes of its broadcasting functions. Further noting that UBC Radio Butembo is a regional radio which was established in 1969 to serve the eastern region of Uganda with a mast situated on a land belonging to the station in Butembo. But upon the enactment of the UBC Act, the radio's management and operation was shifted to Kampala at plot 17 to 19 Nile Avenue, where the Uganda Broadcasting Corporation is located. Concerned that the relocation of UBC Radio Butembo from Butembo district to Kampala has rendered the radio station largely inaccessible to the people. It is supposed to serve including advertisers and local governments, and this has led to limited local content, most especially in the national news, and many societal challenges going unvetted. Further concerned that the infrastructure, including the 4 studios, which were initially installed for operating the radio station in Butembo, were rendered redundant and have been vandalized in the past, which has caused unnecessary loss to the government. Cognizant of the fact that other regions continue to benefit from locally located UBC radio stations, including UBC Mega FM located in Gulu, VOB FM and Ngea FM in Bundibujo, Star FM in Kampala, and Bruli FM in Nakasongola, which have greatly contributed to socio-economic development in the said areas due to the closeness of the station to the locals. Butembo and the Greater Bukedi that constitute the coverage of UBC Butembo Radio are missing out on this and have been left out to the exploitation of private media. Further cognizance of the fact that the abandoned land and infrastructure at Butembo district constitutes enough capacity to handle all installations, productions, and broadcast of various programs of UBC Butembo Radio as mandated by the Uganda Broadcasting Corporation Act 2015. Now, therefore, be it resolved by Parliament that government is urged to decentralize the management, studio production, and broadcast of UBC Butembo Radio to Butembo District with immediate effect so as to fulfill the objectives of the creation of Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, as well as promote regional, economic, and societal development.
Honourable members, is the motion seconded? Seconded, justified?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and members. UBC Butembo was the pride of that region. I remember growing up as a little girl, I too used to enjoy listening to it. There were many educational
By the way,
programs.
can someone send for the ministers of ICT? It seems they have forgotten that the member of this house. Yes.
And Honorable Speaker, it would have been nice if the ministers for ICT and information were present. Nonetheless, information might be transmitted to them. My urge for government to relocate this radio is to promote local content. News coverage from that region is not being viewed in the wider spectrum, in the national spectrum. Thus, many societal challenges are left out. They are left out in the mainstream news. There could also be a trickle-down effect if that radio was operating in form of employment, people giving services to the radio station, those providing food, providing transport. Besides, there is infrastructure in that place. It is lying to waste. And you know, in this country, there is a tendency when infrastructure and land lies idle for some time, then there are people who take advantage of it and take it at a giveaway price. It could also trigger development of local talent, local journalism in the area and create jobs as such. When I interacted with the local people in the area, they claimed that the radio was working, but up to only a certain point, the equipment was vandalized. Maybe government can work backwards and find out who vandalized the equipment of Radio Butembo. The other issue is that government is losing out on revenue through local announcements and advertisements. And this has created a gap for the people to rely mostly on the private providers, radio stations in Mbale. It is good the Minister for Culture is here. The FM stations don't have the same agenda as what a government provider would have. Most of these private stations, they're involved in politicking, things that are most especially of leisure, some even of negative consequences. The authorization of that radio will set a precedent where government is in charge, such that government is at the center of setting the tempo and raising the standards of what ought to be topical issues, what is communicated, so that society is developed holistically. If Radio Butembo was in operation, we would have many programs broadcast in the local language of the various tribes that are in the East. And one area that could be covered would be the area to do with our cultural norms and practices that are almost fading away. Those are some of the justifications that I put forth, that the government is
all their radios that are not functioning, and they have left them to die out. People are going to steal that property. Others are going to steal mercury. I'm told, Madam Speaker, that most of those must have mercury that was put there to, I don't know, but it's very costly. So people go and dig it, steal, and they make money. But the people from Butevo or Kalungu are losing it out. And the people with the FM, I think the frequency is far below. It's a lower frequency. It's around the 80 something, 85 point something. Those are the frequencies that are utilized by most of those people. So I'm supporting the motion. Another member, thank you for bringing this motion. We shall support you. But I pray, Madam Speaker, that when I swear in, those bosses who brought me back to Parliament, they allow me to come back to the Appointments Committee. I look at those members, ministers who are never here, coming back, and my prayers are that still I will be seeing you there as my speaker, because I don't hide it. So that we say that honorable member, you have not been attending. The big man has appointed you again already on the table. And you are from that same region. You never even attended. But your office was opposite there. What do you want in this committee? What do you want in this? Why do you want to become a minister again? I can see Honorable Hamson is happy that he's around and I will just praise him while there like Honorable Bahati. But otherwise, this business of ministers not coming, and yet we are deliberating. Then you see them at media center. Yet media center would be using radio table to give information to those people about what government has said. Because the government radios give first-hand information and they are always respected by districts and ministry departments. I beg to move right now, speak.
Thank you, Honorable Lanya. Then Oshabe, then Anthony. What happened to Anthony? I thought he was there. Okay.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, allow me to thank Honourable Member for moving this very important motion. Right Honourable Speaker, information is key. And when we talk of radios, it makes me to remember what happened in northern Uganda. As he was counting, she read the names of radios set by the government, whereby we have one of them in Gulu called Radio Mega. Right Honourable Speaker, Radio Mega really played a great role in bringing peace in northern Uganda. Therefore, the people of Butembo should not be denied a valuable source of information. Right Honourable Speaker, it is true the government needs to decentralize UBC Radio Butembo. You know, right now and every year, the ministry do budget for most of these radios who are up countries. But it ends up in the budget, the money is allocated, but you don't see the money going to those radios. Therefore, at this juncture, government should decentralize, let government give the management of these radio stations to the region or to the district where the radio is located for proper management. Right Honourable Speaker, I witnessed this with Radio Mega. Right now, Mega FM has got a very strong team because Mega is quite semi-autonomous. They run their own affairs, they employ their own staff, and the radio is performing so well. Therefore, I really feel if Radio Butembo is decentralized and the management is given to the people and the district and the region, automatically the radio will improve. Right Honourable Speaker, also what we need to do is to ask government, because all along, the minister has been budgeting for all the radios under government up country. Let government come up and account for all those radio stations. We have very expensive equipments that were bought some times back. And right now, if you move, you will never find those equipments. Expensive masks, expensive antennas. I think by now, they have all disappeared. I also remember for Mega FM in Gulu, one day, one time, most of the equipment were stolen because it was set in a very high hill and the management did not find most of those equipments. And we were told that some of the equipment were carried from Gulu and brought to Kampala. And the manager, Mega FM, had to sit and start requesting and buying new equipment for those for radio stations. Right Honourable Speaker, let the government really account for all the materials and all the equipment that were supplied for all the radios up country. Further, Right Honourable Speaker, I would like to thank my colleague and urge the government to take this in good faith. Let the Radio Butembo and any other radios that are being controlled by the government, let it be decentralized so that people really benefit. And Right Honourable Speaker, as I go and sit, you recall sometimes back, government also introduced what we call free-to-air televisions. And unfortunately, Right Honourable Speaker, the Ministry of ICT, they also need to be very serious. And that free-to-air is only concentrating within Kampala. Up-country districts do not have free-to-air television sets, free-to-air antennas. Therefore, Madam Speaker, we are denying the people who are up-country to watch television freely. Only people who are within Kampala are watching television freely. And those ones who are up-country, like in Gulu, Eastern, Northern, and other part of the country, if you need to watch television, you need to pay for your Go TV subscription every month. You need to pay for Star Time. You pay for DSTV. You pay for Zuku. Therefore, we are not enjoying the free-to-air which was introduced by the government. I also request through you, Right Honourable Speaker, let the ministry and the Ministry in search of ICT should also come clearly and make sure free-to-air televisions are extended up in the up-country districts. I beg to move.
Thank you, Honorable Shave.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you so much once again. And I want to thank Honorable Mede for the motion and for the background information to Radio Butembo. Thank you very much, Honorable Mede. Right, Honorable Speaker, it's good during COVID, the Minister of Education came to us here and they said that the only available option was to teach our children on radio, because that is the media that could reach majority of the people. Right, Honorable Speaker, available statistics in this country indicates that 87% of Ugandans listen to radios, and only 34% get their information through TV, and internet is only less than 10%. Right, Honorable Speaker. Right, Honorable Speaker, this matter of Radio Butembo and the information Honorable Mede is giving, it tells you that the Butembo people who are relying on that radio are now being excluded because it's a rural place. Majority of the places are rural. That implies that even the smallest percentage that can listen to TV or hear on TV is a small margin. Right, Honorable Speaker, I support Honorable Ahmed's motion as a member of the ICT committee. I think it's a right for people who are in that area to listen to the radio and listen to the language they understand most. Right, Honorable Speaker, when you look at the available statistics reports that are being made, people in that region are listening to radios from Kampala. And trust me, they would much prefer their own language and probably their own presenters. So Honorable Mede to come here and would wish that that radio is stationed at Butembo district, I think she is 100% right. Honorable Speaker, all we need is to ask the Minister for Finance and the Minister for ICT to put this into consideration. Honorable Speaker, in 2017, there was money that was given to UBC for, they called it revamping Uganda Broadcasting Corporation. And I think Butembo was one of the radios that never benefited from that revamp. So if there is anything that can be done, and there must be a solution must be found, we need these people to be catered for as Ugandans. But right, Honorable Speaker, there is a matter that Honorable Mede made of vandalization of equipment or the infrastructure of whatever. That must be investigated, right, Honorable Speaker, by a committee of parliament and information brought here, because that is a matter that probably we can't ask the minister to undertake. The committee, right, Honorable Speaker, the committee of ICT can take up that one and information, and we see how we can help. Otherwise, I want to think that Honorable Amede's motion deserves 100% support.
Thank you. Honorable Ongeto. Oh, okay. Honorable Governor, Honorable Bell.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. I also rise to support the motion brought by Honorable Amede. And Madam Speaker, for me, this motion has made me to remember two things. One is that as a government, we have allowed private entities to squeeze out our own facilities. Because now we have private radio stations all over the country, we have allowed those private radio stations to squeeze out our own facilities. And that is why Radio Butebo is suffering in this process. Madam Speaker, related to this, you will also remember, for instance, we have UTL. And now you rarely talk about UTL because we have allowed MTN and Airtel to squeeze out our own entity. So the second point I've been reminded about is in West Nile, in Arua, we used to have this really state-of-the-art satellite established by the Amin government. And that facility is lying there in waste. And yet we believe that facility, if put to good use, that region would benefit from TV facilities. So my prayer to government is, please let us see that we put aside some money and we strengthen our own facilities. And when they are well brought up, they can ably compete with the private facilities. And I want to believe the government facilities can even outcompete some of these private facilities. And if we do that, we can be sure that as a country, we are well covered. And for the radios, I also want to suggest that as we support this case for Butebo, let us also try to map out in the different regions where such facilities can be established so that we are very sure that the whole country, we are covered. I beg to submit.
Honorable Veronica Agaba Akurut.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, UBC radio or broadcasting has improved so much after the interruption after the Amin era, that it is now competing with a number of FM stations or radio stations. Madam Speaker, the presence of the UBC Butebo regional whatever is so important that I have been excited to get up and support the motion to decentralize Butebo. When we were growing up, and that is quite a number of years ago, we had the Butebo Broadcasting Channel, and it used to cover the entire eastern region. All the languages and the cultures and the practices and the songs were all aired on radio, through Butebo channel. It used to be called a channel. And most of us benefited from all this. How I wish that when the Ministry of Education proposed that our children were going to be educated on the radios, that Butebo channel was on air, just like Radio Mega and others that are working, maybe our children would have benefited. Because when this idea was mooted, our children, we never got anything. They would wait for that one time. And Radio Butebo or Butebo channel was so useful for Teso sub-region in particular. We benefited a lot. I now hear cries of people from Sebei and other areas not getting any radio at all. They only listen to radios from Kenya. If Radio Butebo would be decentralized, then the people of that corner of the world would also benefit from this. Madam Speaker, government has spent a lot of money, like has already been said on this floor, with these ambitious national programs of national broadcaster, and they bring very highly and sophisticated state-of-art equipment. But what do we hear when these things are not functional? Is that some managing director, these are allegations, some managing director, some worker of these organizations or these institutions actually benefited. There was a long case of a radio, I think in Western Uganda, where some of these national equipments were actually taken, and so on and so on. So, Madam Speaker, I support the motion. Let Butebo be decentralized to cater for that region, and let many more radio stations that are under Uganda Broadcasting Corporation also be decentralized, and let them come out and compete with these very expensive local FMs that now Ugandans have had to pay through their nose. I beg to submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Bagaba. Honorable will follow Agaba.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I am just surprised that it takes a motion to align the practice, to align the government practice. Right Honorable Speaker, the government has been taking on many private radios and putting them under UBC, and the intention is to get close to the people, of course, have wider listenership such that the message of government can easily reach the people. And that's not only with the radios, the universities, in academics, the government has been taking on private universities in different regions. Kabale University now is a government university in that region. Mountains of the Moon University is a government university in Toro region. Soroti University, Muni University, and others, because government is trying to decentralize this service to the people as much as possible. So I don't know why it will take a motion for government to decentralize Butebo radio, UBC Butebo. Actually, I think the motion should not be urging government to decentralize. It should be urging the government to localize, because people prefer the local touch, the local brand of the radio, and it has advantages. Because if for example, you look at Voice of Chigezi is not listened to by people in Kavala alone, but by the whole region. We have the Voice of Kamwenge in my side. It goes up to Kasese, Futpoto, and all other areas. I think the cry is to have the voice of Butebo or UBC Butebo localized in Butebo, that people can have even local DJs there. I'm told the control from Kampala limits the time they are allocated to broadcast on the radio. So to me, I support the motion, and I think there should not be a big hindrance for government to have this radio UBC Butebo localized to Butebo, so that it can compete well with the other radio stations around. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Now, Violet, Fruit.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I rise to support the motion raised by Honorable Amede to decentralize the Butebo channel, the Butebo radio. Right Honorable Speaker, like most of the members have said, indeed, as I was also growing up those days, we used to hear Butebo radio. And indeed, it used to broadcast in Ateso, and most of our people in Teso sub-region would listen to this radio, which is no more. And I think indeed we need belonging. Once we have this radio in the region, as people of Teso sub-region, we shall feel belonging to government. Well, we are talking of unemployment in this country. And I thought this is one way that we can be able to employ most of the youth that do not have jobs. During the lockdown, we had another scenario where local newspapers were closed, like in Teso, a top newspaper was closed, and I think Rupin newspaper was equally closed. And yet these are the government newspapers. And quite a number of people, a substantial number of people lost jobs because of the closure of these local newspapers. Yet we are saying that information is power and is also wealth. I actually want to urge the Ministry of Finance that is here and the Ministry of ICT, we need to be seen helping our people through such radios, newspapers employ quite a lot of people, those that distribute, those that sell, those that produce equally to the radios. But now if we don't have them at the region, then it becomes a problem. We had MPs from Sebei sub-region and I think part of Karamoja Mudad. They were saying they get the news from Kenya. Instead of getting announcements or news from Uganda, they get from the neighboring country. Maybe this would be an opportunity that we serve our own people because they are taxpayers. They belong to Uganda. They are Ugandans. Why should they should actually listen to those radios out of option, not because there is no any other means for them, but because there is no any other means, they are forced to listen to radios or the FM stations from the neighboring country. So I think this is a wake-up call to government, especially the Ministry of ICT and the Ministry of Finance, who would appeal to government, like the rest of the members have said, indeed, let us decentralize the Butebo channel. I remember in Teso, there used to be also, I don't know whether it was a real radio or what, Radio Katwe. I don't know which one this one was. That side of Dakabela, I think we need to investigate this. In Dakabela, there was a radio station there. So I think we need to revamp some of these, revive some of these institutions of government. But above all, the appeal I would want to make in relation to this motion, is it possible that we can revive the top and Rupin newspapers? These were government newspapers and they had employed quite a lot of youth from Teso and Northern, I don't know which, maybe also from the West, some of them were closed because of COVID. I think we have tried to see how to manage the COVID situation. That should not be really a big do that most people in hundreds lose their jobs when actually ministries, departments, and government is continuing in operation. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to second the motion and I beg to move. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, honourable members. The Honourable Mede has raised a very serious issue of policy nature. She has complained that since 2004, when the Uganda Broadcasting Act was enacted, which, as you remember, joined UTV to Radio Uganda and came effective in 2005. That is when the station was abandoned. That's 17 years ago. You can imagine 17 years of laxity. In addition to that, other members, it's a breach of the Access to Information Act, which is a law in this country. So government is breaching the Access to Information Act in that manner. The third one, members, I'm personally disappointed because almost every year when I return from the campaign against FGM in Karamoja and Sebei, I've reported to this house that our citizens are cut off from communication from Uganda. I've said it many, many times on the Hansard. I haven't spoken to the ministers. I haven't written to them. But apparently no one is interested in solving that issue. So our people continue listening to Kenya radio. They continue listening to, also in Amudat, the same thing is happening. I don't know. Anyway. Yes, one of the ministers has finally surfaced.
Madam Speaker, first of all, I'd like to thank you, and I would like to begin by thanking my colleagues who have made a contribution specifically. I want to thank Honorable Mede for moving this motion. Madam Speaker and colleagues, on issues concerning Butebu Radio, as a ministry, first we want to associate ourselves with Honorable Mede. That is true, the ministry is in the process, number one, of decentralizing most of these radio stations to their respective sub-regions or regions where they belong. What is lacking, which I want also to appeal to Parliament, number one is the Minister of Finances here. You're all aware that this current financial year, which is ending, UBC has not had budget from government. We did appropriate here, but in terms of actual release of money, the Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, we never got any money. For that purpose, it is within that money which are plans of extending these radio stations back to their respective areas was in plan. So for that matter, we are all aware that even then, we have moved ahead to begin to look at putting up another radio station within Mbale region. Mbale region, UBC has land. Why were we doing this? Because the site we're talking about, which my colleague knows very well, is in a sorry state, which needs some big investment in terms of revamp of Butebu Radio. But I want to confirm that Honorable Mede, we're in the process, and within next financial year, we intend to work on the structure of Butebu, then push back the studios back to Butebu. Why Butebu? The focus is Butebu covers almost about 8 languages in the Eastern region. Like colleagues have mentioned, Butebu initially used to cover from Busoga up the entire Teso areas, which border, that is the Kumam. So the main purpose of us making Butebu get back to its place, it's there. The other issue which I want to address here is the question which Madam Speaker you have just raised. It is also true that we have procured transmitters to install new radio stations. Number one, in Kapchora, which is going to cover the Sebe sub-region for the purposes of the Sabine-speaking people. Number two, we are also going to upgrade the radio station, which is in Moroto, to cover Amudat and other parts of Karamoja. There's already a radio station there, but needs upgrading its transmission for purposes of having a wider coverage, which covers Amudat and all parts, including Karenga, which is at the northeast of the country. So that is also going to be handling, and the transmitters have been procured. The other issue which I want to inform colleagues again here is on the issue of the liberalization of the sector, specifically radio stations. As of today, we have 332 FM stations. We are also working on the government radio station, which was in West Nile under UBC. That will also be operationalized within the next financial year, and other parts of the country. So as far as the ministry is concerned, we are working together, but I want to request Parliament help us with resources for purposes of supporting these upcoming FM stations to help give information to the community. The last one is on the issue of Ethiopia and Rupin. It is true, as a Minister of Information, New Vision Corporation belongs to Minister of Finance. So that answer, I would want to address it to Minister of Finance. It is true, me with information sector would wish to have Rupin and Ethiopia back. Unfortunately, I'm happy Honorable Bahati is here. He can be able to explain more on as far as Ethiopia and Rupin is concerned. So I thank you so much. And as far as I want to say thank you, I want to thank my sister, Honorable Amede for the motion. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, even if you are talking of the radio stations, I request you also respond about free-to-air television decoders. It's very important. I think this is a rightful opportunity. You need to respond. And finally, Honorable Minister, I also request through your team, if you could organize and pay a visit to Radio Mega FM so that it guides other radio stations that are under UBC, but they are up country. You know, for Radio Mega FM, the management is quite unique. And currently, as we talk, Mega FM is employing more than 60 people. And all those 60 people are getting salaries. It's very important if you decentralize. And the best word should be giving those radios autonomous. If you allow the radio, Butevo FM and others to be autonomous, run their own affairs, it will employ very many youth, provide employment, and automatically people in that area will benefit. I request you comment briefly on the free-to-air decoder. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Gilbert, for the question you've raised. To begin with the issue of Mega FM. Mega FM is a radio station which is under UBC. As you're all aware that Mega FM was started during the war in northern Uganda. It was a donation by non-government organization to Office of the Prime Minister. When those NGOs wound up the operation, they handed over the management of Mega FM to Office of the Prime Minister, which then handed it over to the Minister of Information and Communication. I want to confirm, I have been to Mega FM myself and even talked to the people of northern Uganda during the time of this COVID. I did address them in Mega FM. It is true that Mega FM is making a lot of money. How? It's because it's located in a strategic area, which is in Gulu, which is a city in Acholi sub-region. It is also true that according to our plan as the Minister of Information and Communication, we intend, like it as the process has started, to decentralize the management of most of these radio stations for purpose of helping us generate revenue, which will be able to run the stations. But also, as you know very well, there are areas like Karamoja, Bundibujo, like now, another one which is meant to be put in Kisoro. These are areas where sometimes, as government, we put in a station there, we have to run generator, pay power bills, but if you look at the return on investment, you might not get it. That's why government continues to invest the money into UBC. Purpose most times not on profit making, but for purpose of helping communicate to our people in those different areas. Back to the issue of free-to-air televisions. Madam Speaker, I'd like to request that you give me time to come here maybe on Tuesday and address. Why do I say this? There's a challenge in that specific aspect concern about free-to-air decoders. What comes in multi-choice, of course, has pay rights. Now, only multi-choice has only permitted a national broadcaster, that is UBC. And this area, there are some of us who have subscribed to various pay TVs, like Zuku, name them. So most times you find they can't, when you don't pay, they switch you off, and yet you're meant to remain on air. But you find that it's only Uganda Broadcasting Corporation which remains. That's why I want to request colleagues and the August House that permit me to have a meeting and come up with a comprehensive statement on as far as pay TV is concerned. I thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
If we could have the statement by Thursday next week.
Thank you so much. Away. Thank
Okay.
you.
Honourable members, the motion was supported by all the members. I actually did not hear anyone speaking against it. I therefore put the question that the question be put. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. And I put the question that this House do adopt the motion as proposed by Honorable Mede. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. I have it. Thank you. Next item.
Item number 15, motion for resolution of Parliament urging government to operationalize Article 249 of the Constitution through establishment of a Disaster Preparedness and Management Commission for Uganda.
Honorable Tomaranda.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I am here to present a motion for a resolution of Parliament urging government to operationalize Article 249 of the 1995 Constitution through establishment of a Disaster Preparedness and Management Commission for Uganda, moved under Rule 55 and 56 of the Rules of Procedure. Madam Speaker, whereas Objective 23 of the National Objectives and Directive Principles of State Policy mandates the state to institute an effective machinery for dealing with hazard and disaster arising out of natural calamities of any situation resulting in general displacement of people and serious disruption of their normal life. And whereas Article 249 of the 1995 Constitution of Uganda, government is under obligation to establish a disaster preparedness and management commission for Uganda to deal with both natural and man-made disasters, noting that there is currently established the Ministry of Disaster Preparedness and Refugees at cabinet level under the Office of the Prime Minister, charged with the responsibility of dealing with the natural and national preparedness and disasters, including floods, landslides, earthquakes, drought, and famine, as well as refugee matters. Furthermore, noting that in 2011, the ministry developed the National Policy for Disaster Preparedness and Management that details mechanisms and structures for the effective and practical management of disasters, and also urges the Office of the Prime Minister to develop and present to Cabinet and Parliament a National Disaster Preparedness and Management Bill to enforce key provisions of the policy, including institutional structures, concerned that the challenges posed by natural and human-induced hazards have been a constant thorn in the flesh of the Ugandan economy, with an average of more than 200,000 Ugandans being affected every year by disasters in the past 2 decades, and an average of 1,800,000 people internally displaced over the period of 1998 and 2008 due to floods, landslides, drought, earthquakes, and epidemic diseases. Further concerned that the current pandemic of COVID-19, which has seriously disrupted the normal life of Ugandans, has escalated the need for Uganda as a country to enhance its ability to handle hazards through seeking to augment the capacity of the current establishment of disaster preparedness by operationalizing Article 249 of the 1995 Constitution, cognizant of the fact that Article 249, subsection 2, requires Parliament, for purposes of establishment of a disaster preparedness and management commission for Uganda, to prescribe the composition, functionings, and procedure for implementation of the functionings of the commission. Now, therefore, be it resolved by Parliament that government is urged to 1, operationalize Article 249 of the 1995 Constitution through the establishment of the Disaster Preparedness and Management Commission for Uganda, and 2, present for the consideration of Parliament a bill prescribing the composition, functionings, and procedure for implementation of the functions of the Commission. I beg to lay, Madam Speaker.
Honourable members, is the motion seconded? Seconded. Justified.
Right, Honourable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, disasters are so rampant in Uganda, and these disasters have caused a great deal of suffering, human rights abuses, and loss of property and productive capacity for the people of Uganda. In so doing, disasters have contributed to the rights violation and retardation of social development. Madam Speaker, Uganda has experienced a wide range of disasters directly affecting most of the country. Disaster risk is on the rise throughout the country, yet our communities are not prepared to respond in cases of calamities. Natural calamities have been manifested through landslides in Bududa and floods in Kasese, Karamoja, and other areas in this country. Recently, we saw on TV Butareja, floods in Butareja, Madam Speaker. Many districts have been prone to floods that cause destruction of food crops, displacements, and transport challenges. And this results into famine, hence calling for proactive measures to manage possible reoccurrences. Madam Speaker, other disasters include climate change and change in weather patterns throughout the country with shorter rain seasons and extended periods of drought. Therefore, natural disasters are one of the biggest threats for the long-term development goals of the country. Bududa, for instance, was affected by the disastrous mudslide, causing massive destruction of lives and property, and eventually a permanent displacement of victims to Panyadori settlement in Kiandongo district. The population still staying in the affected areas, however, need sensitization on how to manage possible disasters because of the likely risks. Madam Speaker, local communities are more vulnerable to the effects of disasters since they are dependent on the very natural environment that is threatened by disasters for their livelihoods. Despite the efforts by the government in responding to disasters, many of the disaster management programs are not sustainable at local level after the completion of such interventions. Unless disaster management efforts are sustainable at individual and community level, it is difficult to reduce the losses and the scale of the tragedy. There needs to be an opportunity when people are involved from the initial programming stage of disaster management activities. It is therefore important to create awareness to communities such that they can take decisions from an informed point of view. Despite all that, there is inadequate proactive response towards supporting communities to manage disaster, hence the need for the motion. Madam Speaker, it is therefore crucial at this moment in the life of our nation that we address issues of governance, constitutionalism, and the rule of law during this period of the novel coronavirus relief and disaster preparedness response. According to the World Health Organization, COVID-19 is classified as a public health emergency of international concern. It created a global vulnerability and caused immense havoc in all aspects. We need to plan adequately for the aftermath. Madam Speaker, our very own 1995 Constitution sets out clearly that Uganda should do principles of governance and the rule of law set out in the national objectives and direct principles of state policy. Under government principle number 23, the government of Uganda must establish an effective machinery to deal with the natural and artificial disasters and any hazards such as health hazards. Article 249 of the Constitution, the disaster preparedness and management is enshrined therein. Under Article 99, subsection 2 of the Constitution, the President is mandated to enforce the establishment of the Disaster Commission by causing to be brought before Parliament an act to establish the commission. Right, Honorable Speaker, the Office of the Prime Minister, which is handling disaster today, is too busy with a number of activities. And as long as Constitutional Disaster Preparedness and Management Commission is not in place, civil servants might be tempted to embezzle grants, donations, and relief items. During COVID-19 pandemic, funds were collected from private sectors, donors, including the citizens of the state. By law, these monies should have been managed officially by a statutory body established by the Act of Parliament. We also witnessed, Madam Speaker, through various media during the lockdown, how a number of assorted items collected under fundraising drive on COVID-19 were recovered from people's homes. This gave a negative image to the tremendous efforts by His Excellency the President in trying to curb the COVID-19 pandemic. As such, there is a need for the formation of a disaster preparedness and management commission so that corruption is brought to an end. Right, Honorable Speaker, there are disaster-related activities which by law and good governance practices should have fallen under the mandate of Disaster Preparedness and Management Commission. For example, security deployed to enforce curfew and food distribution during lockdown, efforts to fight locusts, among others. All those fall under Disaster Preparedness and Management Commission, though it is the Prime Minister's office that is handling. It is against the above background that the government establishes a statutory body to improve on management of disaster in Uganda, which is a normal business today. I beg to move, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Mr. Kendall.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. And I also want to thank the college for bringing up a very, very timely motion. When locusts invaded this country, sometimes last year, I kept on wondering which department is going to be coordinating the problem. Initially, I had thought it would be ministry responsible for wildlife, because I thought this was wildlife becoming more wild. After some time, I thought it would be therefore the minister responsible for the same to coordinate the rest of the ministries. Eventually, it was the minister responsible for agriculture, Honorable Vincent Sempija, almost became minister responsible for locusts. But again, I kept on wondering under which technical department in his ministry he would be controlling and coordinating this problem. Luckily enough, I think by also heavenly intervention, the locusts either didn't appear or were fought, and they are no more. Right, Honorable Speaker and members, when it came to COVID-19, many people committed donations to this country. And the Ugandans entrusted Parliament to actually supervise research. What came across was a task force, which Parliament cannot supervise. Up to now, there are people complaining that they were seeing overwhelming donations, including food relief, including everything, but nothing ever reached them. And no one is there to be put accountable, because Parliament, that people entrust